do you look for in a review?
Well,
Introduce
actually,
yourself.
to the comments I was going to say.
Amy Engelhardt.
Hi, I'm Amy Engelhardt. Thrilled to be back in New York after 20 years in Los Angeles. I'm both a performer and a writer, and I've been reviewed positively, negatively. I've reviewed things positively, negatively, and I lived obviously in a town of extreme puff operate for a while there. But I often would mention things that I thought in my friends either didn't serve them well, choices didn't serve them well, and that's ultimately, that combines the two comments that I have. One is the reviewer-oriented one, which is, it's a delicate balance, and I like that I like hearing that you struggle with it, between it's not about you. Even though you're reviewing it, it's not about you. So when I read a review, I think, I have to think, is this person trying to show me something of who they are by who they're reviewing it?
When you're reading a review of someone else.
Of anyone, of myself or anyone else. Like, are they making it about, this is my opinion, or this is an opinion, or this is a review? The tone of the review is often very important, both for the performer and for someone who's reading it, making a decision. And the second thing is a control thing, which has to do with the performer, which is often you don't have control over every aspect of the performance that you're in. So you probably have mixed feelings yourself about some of the aspects, and watch it go by as you're in the show. And know that you can do nothing about it, and your only validation sometimes is when an objective reviewer, points out where you yourself put the evidence flag in your mind, like the CSI evidence flag. So, and I would hope, reading reviews, that that creators, everyone can learn from these things and say, I kind of made that mistake, maybe in what I did in my show. So I look for things like that, and also I think it's important for everyone and everybody to read these things, and I think it's important to see positive as well as negative things, even if you know the person. I know that I expect from people that I know that they will give me this straight talk. And whether they have a public forum to do that or not, I guess that's not up to me.
Well, here's
but
the thing.
I would rather know.
Yeah, here's the thing with the artists. I judge a vocal competition at the Stonewall Inn on Wednesday nights. It's kids, pretty young people generally. And there's like 15 of them. It's American Idol style, so one is eliminated every week, and there's a panel of judges, of which I'm one every week. And so after everyone sings, we give them a little feedback, and I am culturally authorized to be the kind of Simon Cowell of that judge. I'm a panel, the others can be like, oh my God, I love your boots. And I will be, says, where was the middle verse, So, and people come up to me afterwards sometimes, and they'll be like, oh, you're so mean, or oh, I agree with what you say. Either way, or both. But what I would say to artists all the time, and this is one of the few occasions I get to really give people direct response right after and it's one of the only chances that artists have to get direct response right after they perform. You never hear it from the audition table. You don't hear it from your friends. And most of the people there to support you are your fans. They're going to be like, oh my God, you were awesome. You should have won. So my job is to be that other thing, right? And the truth is, really, here's my response to it. I try to be as sensitive and informed and intelligent as I can, and here's my response to it. Take it or leave it. Really, take it or leave it. Listen to it, and then take it or leave it. Is it something that you agree with? Is it something that a little voice in your head knew that was wrong, but was hoping no one would notice? In which case, listen to it and fix it.
Yes.
Or is it something that you intend to do that is essential to yourself or your style that this person might not like or some other person might not like, because if you do anything interesting, there will be people who don't like it. Then keep that.
Well, that goes back.
You can feel free to disagree with. In fact, this is what I tell artists all the time when we have this conversation, which is if you do anything interesting, there will be people who don't like it, and not just dumb people who you don't respect. There will be smart people that you respect and that you like who don't like it.
As soon as you go out on a limb, in particular.
Yes, as soon as you do anything that's worth doing, and that doesn't mean that because people don't like it, it's good. but there will be, there will always be people who are like, the wasteland, and that's fine. That is totally fine. But the trick is finding the best parts of yourself, putting them out there, and being true to your style and listening to other people that can help you find that style.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tanya Overly.
Oh, Tanya.
Good to be here. I'm a producer of the salon. I do a little directing, but I want to speak as a self-starting performer. I want to get back to the asses and the seats. Like, perhaps that's not your job as critics, but that's what I want to get, because I love to perform, so I have to pay for it. And in order to do that, I need an audience. So I'm always thrilled if anybody shows up to my shows.
So in other words, you want to be able to get from a review
Yes.
the ability to
Good or
promote
bad.
audiences.
Good or bad, it might be your taste, it might not be your taste. I actually directed a show last week that didn't get a great review, and I thought, well, they missed the boat, they didn't understand what we were doing. But I also took those reviews into consideration and said, well, is any of this useful? Without changing the heart and soul of what I'm doing. And you pointed out interesting. I think my work is phenomenal. I think I'm very interesting. I want people to see it. And then if they can come see it, I can do it again and again and again and get better at my craft.
Well,
So-
that would be an ideal situation, wouldn't it?
Well, that's the thing,
Right, well, it's not happening that way for most people. There are more people out there doing shows all the time than there are critics to review the shows. And that's just the way it is. What I didn't get a chance to say last time was about getting it or people getting it or not. This guy totally covered it, so I really don't have to.
I'm a little
to getting what a person is about. Yeah, you can.
what Kitty
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah, it's about at some point, you've got to be your own advocate, no matter how great you. What? What are you laughing at?
I was just thinking, I'm always trying to get it, but I haven't had any for a while. Come on. Go. Sorry,
You get more than most people I know.
I wasn't gonna say
Anyway, all right. Anyhow,
Yes, so if there's something negative, this is...
sorry.
Okay,
I didn't mean to derail you.
no. What I'm saying, it's incredibly hard to get people to come to shows, whether you're good or not so good, and very often it is the energy that a person is able to put into getting people to go to the shows rather than what the quality of the show is. I have a suggestion for that. I don't know if this is the time to, I don't know if this is the time to make that suggestion, to get
How to get a
critics to
review?
come. How to get
No,
critics to come.
not at all. We have so much territory
Yeah, I
yet to
didn't think
cover.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, but if anybody wants
That's
to
what
know, they
I'm
can ask me after the show.
I just want to say something else, though. I'm very grateful for the years that I was not reviewed. That's true.
Yeah.
But you also, you have more of a forum because you had the, the tenacity and the foresight to put together something like the salon, and that gives you an advantage, and, which you've earned. You've earned an advantage, to get some attention.
I just moved in, it's over.
It's just the same.
Go, girl.
No, it's just the same. You've done something beyond just putting on a show and sending out an email,
Absolutely.
Stephen Hanks,
Yeah, hi, I'm Stephen Hanks.
who is also a reviewer, among other things.
I've been writing for Cabaret scenes for the last year. I've done about 35 to 40 reviews, also a few in Times Square Chronicles. There's so many things that have been mentioned that you could comment on. I'll say something about the whole thing about what you look for in a review.
Great,
Because I think I can answer from the perspective of a reader, a writer, and an editor, because I've been a magazine editor for years. Okay. The most important thing, I agree with everybody on the panel who said that in the final analysis, you are writing for the reader, whoever that may be.
Performer or
Whoever that may
goer,
be.
right.
And your responsibility as a writer is, well, what I look for when I read reviewers, I want to read somebody who's authoritative, who knows what they're talking about, who has a good sense of journalism, which means the reporting and making sure they get their facts straight.
And can you sum all of this up in one review? Can you
Yes.
see that?
But maybe even more important than all of that is that they're entertaining
Yes,
to read.
Yes.
they're an art form itself.
And I've, you're talking, go through the litany of the great reviewers reviewers who like Pauline Kael and, you know, all those people who were great reads, but also could write extremely authoritatively about the art form. And when I want to read that, but when I write something, I also want to achieve those goals. And when it comes to reviewing art or performers, you want to be fair. I mean, it's not about objectivity. I mean, this is not an objective exercise. I mean, you're going into something, you know, objectivity in terms of you want to be fair and you want to be able to know what you're talking about and assess what the person has done in a fair way without being gratuitously nasty or going out of your way to rip somebody.
No, that's...
I totally agree with Roy in the cabaret setting of being constructive in terms of pointing out things that were good or maybe need work in a show. Because the difference between a magazine like Cabaret Scenes or websites like what Scott does and what Will and Adam do is they do consumer publications.
Right.
For all intents and purposes, Cabaret is a trade magazine. The people who read it are in the trade. So you do approach the writing a little bit differently than you would.
Yes.
And also on the website, it's like the expanding universe. You can write 800 words in a review where, you know, Adam is limited to what his editors tell them he can write. So, you know, the funny thing about the Cabaret Scene situation, which maybe people know, is when I write a review for the web, I can write 500 words, 600 words, or 800 words, whatever I want. Hopefully I'm not boring people by the time they get to the 800. But when those reviews end up in the magazine, they are all 250 words.
Used to be 200.
Yeah.
You're
So
lucky.
so I end up taking 700, 800 word reviews and editing them down myself. So, and I don't think they're as entertaining because I don't want to like reinvent the wheel. But, and I think that goes back to the problem with performers writing. The issue isn't that they don't know what they're talking about in some cases. The issue is that they're not really entertaining to read. They're not good writers.
I beg to differ.
You know?
I beg to differ on that.
Well, because there's many different, there's other...
I know.
I'm not making
I
it a
wanna
blanket
talk.
statement. I'm just saying
I know,
that.
no, I just, he said his piece, I'd like to say my piece. As we heard here, Adam, said the greatest writers in the world were performers themselves. Richard Wagner wrote.
I'm not talking about that.
But
I'm
I'm
talking
talking-
about the people writing now.
Well, I'm one person who's writing now.
Right?
Okay, and you know, I'm talking about developing more people like you. You sound like, you know, I'm gonna go home and read you, I can't wait. I'm talking about people like myself. When the cabaret, when I speak to Peter, he asked me to write more reviews all the time because people are requesting for me personally to write reviews because they're entertained by them. And it is doable with performance. It's about the editors. Let the editors take some responsibility and pick who's good.
Well, sure.
It's about the, I'm not done.
Well, I agree-
It's about the owners.
I agree with
I
that.
don't
It's
think
about the
I don't
owners
think
of
you're
the
making a
paper.
blanket statement.
No.
I don't care whether he's making, that's fine if he's making a blanket statement or not. But I'm talking, I got up to the point of the editors, so I moved on actually. It's up to the people who own these magazines and websites and blogs to take some responsibility.
That I totally
Not
agree
just
with.
the writers, for God's sakes. If I ask for a job on Broadway and someone gives it to me just because, you know, they want to and I stink, that's the casting person's responsibility. At some point, it's not our responsibility. And that's what's wrong with the media today, because it's too big, and people are not, they are, what do they call, content whores? You know, I've heard that expression. They just want content, 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 content. Well, because they want advertisers, and they want more people to look. Well, let them take some responsibility, because there it is. That's what it's going to help. And you know what? It might not help because we're too far on with technology right now. And if we're too far on with technology, we might need to go in a totally different direction. And I don't know what that is, because if I did, we would all know at some point
Well-
what needs to change.
Check, please.